morning. How's everyone doing? Good to hear that. Thank you very much for the kind introduction, Richard, and thank you for inviting me to be part of this event. It's pretty refreshing to actually be amongst people and not looking at a screen. So I hope today is going to be pretty engaging and pretty informative for all of you. So as Richard mentioned, I'm part of Meralco. So Meralco is the largest distribution utility in the country. We operate in a relatively small franchise area, primarily Metro Manila and adjacent provinces. But that franchise area covers about 50% of the country's GDP and is home to about a quarter of the population. So it's a pretty significant operation here in the Philippines. But today, today I'll be sharing with you our sustainability agenda. And as you see on the screen, that sustainability agenda is aptly captured by the phrase, powering the good life. And today I'll be discussing in particular how we've sought to really embed sustainability in the very fabric of our strategy and operations as a company. So let me begin, before I delve into anything Meralco, let me start by putting into context the world we live in today, or the world we operate in today. In many respects, as you can imagine, and as you know, the world we live in is unwell. Let me just share a few stats to kind of highlight that. Floods, heavy rains, droughts, and wildfires have quadrupled in the last 40 years alone. In 2020, more than 30 million people were displaced as they fled from such calamities. A whopping 1/3 of the Earth's animal and plant species may be extinct by 2050 if current emissions trajectories persist. Now, focusing momentarily on the Philippines, last year, and this is a very important stat, last year we were rated the 4th country most at risk from the climate crisis. And this is despite a mere 0.7% share of global emissions. So let me stop there for a moment. We're the 4th country most at risk, but our share in emissions is less than 1%. That doesn't seem like a very balanced situation, but that is the reality. So it is against this very bleak, very gloomy backdrop that we say in Meralco, business as usual is not really an option anymore. Business, the way we've done it over the last few years, the last decades, is no longer as it should be. And so 3 years ago, exactly 3 years ago, when our President and CEO, Attorney Ray C. Espinosa, took the reins of Meralco, one of his first major thrusts was to place sustainability front and center for us, at the very core of our strategy and operations as a company. And so following his lead, we crafted our very own sustainability agenda, which, as I mentioned earlier, is powering the good life. And it's very much rooted in the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, or what you earlier heard as the UN SDGs. And there are 17 diverse goals. Now, if you can guess, and as you can imagine, our focus among all the goals has been UN SDG number 7, or the drive to deliver affordable and clean energy. Now, in as much as UN SDG 7 is core, central to our business, it is only one of the few things we focus on. In fact, if you look at our other businesses and initiatives, we are able to support and even promote as many as 10 other SDGs, so 11 out of the 17 SDGs. So as such, powering the good life has been our sustainability agenda for the last 3 or so years, and it's marked by a distinctive focus on 4 pillars, what we commonly know in Meralco as the 4 Ps. So if you ask, I'd like to think, if you ask any Meralco about what the 4 Ps are, hopefully they're pretty versed in it. But let me go through each one in turn. First, obviously we're a power company. The first pillar is power. This is about exerting supreme effort to deliver 4 things: affordable, reliable, accessible, and clean energy to all we serve. The next imperative is planet, obviously, right? So planet is all about reducing our greenhouse gas emissions and minimizing our waste in order to protect and preserve our one and only home. Third, people. This is about nurturing sustainability deep within the hearts and minds of all our employees, while ensuring the holistic well-being of all our employees in a safe and an inclusive workplace. And then finally, prosperity. I believe this is what underpins all of the other Ps, because ultimately this is about creating better lives for all. So power, planet, people, and prosperity. Now, allow me, this essentially serves as a frame for my discussion today. So allow me to walk through some of the initiatives, some of the programs, some of our aspirations in each of these 4 pillars. So I'll start with power. So in the last few years, we've continued our drive towards our goal to achieve 100% electrification of our franchise area. Through what we call our Meralco Electrification program, we've brought power to 100% of households in our service area. And we've done this with a special focus on bringing light to unserved and underserved communities. We achieve this through what we call microgrid solutions. And these microgrid solutions combine solar panels and battery energy storage systems. In particular, we've deployed these microgrid solutions in 2 far-flung communities, one in Isla Verde, Batangas, and the other one in Cagbaleta Island in Quezon Province, both south of Metro Manila. Moreover, we've gained momentum in our shift towards cleaner and greener energy through our solar company, which is better known as Spectrum. We've installed more than 14,000 kilowatt peak of solar panels just last year, serving commercial, residential, and industrial customers across the country. We've made a commitment. We made a very clear commitment to embark on what we call a just, orderly, and affordable transition to clean energy. And as such, we have pledged, and this is something that we've communicated to the press, we've communicated to our investors and to all our stakeholders. We've pledged to greenify our supply portfolio by securing at least 1,500 megawatts of clean energy contracts in the next 5 years. This is in full support of the Department of Energy's renewable portfolio standards. In addition to contracting or buying more renewable energy, we are also building more clean energy projects, in particular through our subsidiary company, M-Green. We are looking to accelerate our energy transition by building 1,500 megawatts in clean energy projects across multiple technologies, solar, wind, hydro, beginning today through 2027. In fact, our maiden project, a 55 megawatt solar farm just north of Metro Manila in San Miguel, Bulacan, which we call Bulacan Sol, has been in operation and has been injecting power into the grid since May of last year. Moving on to planet. For the first time, beginning in 2020, we now include greenhouse gas or GHG emissions as a corporate performance metric. So our bonuses, our salaries now depend not only on our commercial performance, but also on our sustainability performance. And this is not only at the business unit level, but at the very top of our organization. Our CEO, our management committee, we are all measured on greenhouse gas emissions. So we measure, we monitor, and we report our emissions, and also track our waste diversion rate, or the amount of waste generated by Meralco that we are able to essentially repurpose and recycle and ultimately divert away from landfills. To drive our planet agenda, we also put in place a number of initiatives to spur decarbonization. And among these, as Richard mentioned, something that's very near and dear my heart because I take care and run the subsidiary of Meralco that propagates electric vehicles, is vehicle electrification. We actually launched last year our Green Mobility Program, and this is aimed at electrifying our Meralco's vehicle fleet. To date, we have rolled out nearly 130 EVs, consisting of electric cars, pickups, vans, and motorcycles to serve all our networks or sector offices, as well as 100% of our Metro Manila business center fleet. So if you see the business centers in Meralco, all of those have service vehicles, and today, all of those are served by EVs, nothing else. No more internal combustion engine vehicles, and we're just getting started. Now, to support these EVs, we've also installed 5 fast chargers or 5 station chargers in strategically located facilities across our franchise area. Still under planet is what we call our Resource Conservation and Efficiency Program, which aims to reduce, and this might be surprising to some of you, it actually aims to reduce our own electricity consumption. We're very conscious about our own electricity consumption, and we constantly try to find ways to reduce it. Through this program, we've heightened our energy efficiency measures by replacing our lighting fixtures with LEDs, by upgrading our HVAC systems, and also by transitioning to less energy consuming IT devices. We also began the solarization of 3 major buildings in the Meralco facility in Ortigas and also some of our business centers. And again, we're only just beginning. Furthermore, again, something to share with you about how we conduct ourselves in the network. A very important initiative we have undertaken is our transition to natural ester oil or plant-based ester oil for all our distribution transformers. These distribution transformers are essentially some of our core equipment in our network. And so going forward, we will use this earth-friendly oil for 100% or for all our new pad-mounted and pole-mounted DTs, making these close to 100% biodegradable and recyclable. Now, this is part and parcel of our pledge to greenify our entire network infrastructure. Moving on to people. On March 9, 2020, International Women's Day, our President and CEO signed our support of the UN Women's Empowerment Principles, or the WEPs. Meralco was actually one of the first 3 Filipino signatories and the first one in the Philippine energy sector. Now, we've taken it a few steps further after that. In support of building a more gender-balanced and inclusive Meralco, we've also launched what we call our Gender Diversity and Inclusion Program, which we fondly call Embrace. Everything in Meralco starts with an M. We have a company called M-Serve, M-Spectrum, Empower. So we said, look, if we're going to come up with a diversity program, why don't we call it Embrace, right? Finally, under prosperity, which, as I said, for us is the most important, we've endeavored to empower our communities, our customers, and our constituents. In a way, it doesn't make complete sense if it's only us who's sustainable. It's got to be a very collective thing, and I'll share with you some of our learnings in this regard. So we've taken our position of influence very seriously, and we have done our part to try to encourage others to be more sustainable. In fact, one of our key initiatives is our partnership with Gawad Kalinga, and this is to solarize households in Santa Rosa, Laguna. Through this project, we have given marginalized communities not only cleaner, more affordable source of energy, but also livelihood opportunities with respect to the installation, operation, and maintenance of the solar panels installed on their roofs. For customers, in line with the revision of the Meralco bill, which you've probably seen since last year, the ERC approved the inclusion of the environmental impact section on our bill, displaying not only your consumption, but also the equivalent carbon emissions and the number of trees it would take to absorb your consumption. Again, in an effort to make you more aware, in an effort to encourage you to become more sustainable, and by being energy efficient. Finally, and this is another key project of ours, to encourage our constituents, our stakeholders to become more sustainable, we recently launched the Meralco Supplier Sustainability Scorecard, or MSQ. Our vendors, anybody who wants to do business with Meralco going forward, will now be assessed not only on commercial terms, but on their sustainability criteria and disclosures, as this will be one of the bases for their continuing business with Meralco. Going beyond the 4 Ps, I'm pleased to share that in 2021, we also saw and heightened our sustainability governance. And this is through the installation and establishment of a sustainability committee right at the board level. This is to ensure our board's oversight over our sustainability strategy, policies, and programs. And the committee, which is chaired no less than by MVP, our chairman, also monitors our economic, environmental, and social performance in alignment with the UN SDGs. Now, before I end, in light of all of these efforts, we're very happy and very honored that a number of our sustainability-related initiatives have been recognized. In particular, our sustainability report in the last 2 years, our maiden report in 2019, and our report in 2020, and most recently, hopefully we also get some recognition for that. But at least our 2019 and our 2020 reports were recognized in the UK and in Hong Kong in the Stevie Awards. And we've also had a number of our initiatives, as Richard mentioned, that have been recognized. And again, this just tells us that maybe we are on the right track, and it kind of inspires us to push even further going forward. So as I come to the end of this presentation, I'd like to share with you maybe some reflections on our sustainability journey. Interestingly enough, our experiences in embedding sustainability in the last few years have given us some very good reflections, some insights as we fully embrace sustainability as a company. And there are 3 that I'd like to highlight. First, we truly believe and understand that sustainability goes well beyond environmentalism. If we look closely at the 17 SDGs, they are very diverse goals, but the one tie that binds all of them is the drive for better lives. Ultimately, it's about better lives, right? For sure, protecting and preserving our planet is a huge part of ensuring a life for ourselves and our future generations. But really, there are certainly other imperatives that are equally important. Imperatives such as human rights, equal access to basic services, social justice. And all of these foster prosperity. And so sustainability, in our view, goes well beyond going green. Second, on top of Meralco's 4 Ps, there is actually a hidden 5th P, which is partnership. It is clear that sustainability is a team effort, and I alluded to this earlier. And interestingly enough, we're all on the same side. We're not fighting against each other, right? If we win, we all succeed and we all live. If we lose, then we all perish, right? So true sustainable progress undoubtedly requires not only a shared vision, but more importantly, collective action. Finally, in light of our shared COVID-19 experience of the last 2 or so years as a nation and as a global community, we realize that sustainable development does seem to be the best, if not the only way forward. The pandemic has shed light on a number of environmental, social, and governance issues that have in a way remained unaddressed, swept under the rug for a long time. Now, we have a great chance to reset and, as some would say, build back better, right? And so more and more, the spirit of sustainability, I believe, should be with us, whether we are in a pandemic situation or not. To end, we'd like to think that we've achieved, quite a bit in Meralco in the last few years, but in many respects, there's still so much more that we can and will do. Going forward, we will do more to bring sustainable, enduring, and meaningful progress to uplift our customers, our communities, and the country in general, and to enable many more Filipinos to power better lives, not only for themselves today, but more importantly, for their children's tomorrow. So with that, thank you very much, and have a good rest of the conference.